Hi, I'm Todd Pattison, the Conservator at the New England Historic Genealogical Society. And since many of us are being asked to spend most, if not all of our day inside these days, I thought that I would show you a couple of quick ways to do pop-ups so that you can make a pop-up card or do some other kind of artistic project using pop-ups. So what we're going to do today is two different fairly simple pop-ups. One would be a straight line pop-up, which allows you to do a mouth or something like that, as you can see here. And the other would be two lines cut in, which allows you to do a box pop-up in case you wanted to do a building or a city scene or anything that was square like that. So for this project, you will need some kind of paper, and here I have just a sheet of white paper, but you could use almost any kind of paper. You'll need a pair of scissors. You may want to have a ruler, although you certainly don't need one, and then something to draw with, and then later if you want to decorate, you might want to have some colored pencils or paints or anything that you would want to do with that. So first I'm going to show you how to do kind of a mouth opening or a straight cut with two folds to create your pop-up. So you can take your sheet of paper and fold it in half, meeting the front edges, and then just crease it with your finger. And then along this fold, you want to make a cut with a pair of scissors. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is you probably don't want to cut more than half of the distance of this paper. So I'm going to make a cut of about 2 inches. And then I'm going to fold these two parts of my cut back. So I fold first the bottom part, and then I'm going to fold the top part and crease them both with my finger, fold them back, flip it over, and then crease it in the opposite direction. So I'm following the same crease that I used before, I'm just making it fold in the other way. I'll fold them back so that they're planar with the rest of the piece now. And then as I open this up, I want to try to manipulate the center folds of those areas so that it goes in the different direction. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of manipulation to make that work. So I want to make these go in the opposite direction from this fold. And then once I've done that and I get it started to go that way, then I can simply close it and then score these folds again. And then this will give me the pop-up shape. So now I'm going to show you the square pop-up shape. And this time I'm going to fold my sheet of paper in the opposite direction. So I'm going to fold it along the long axis as opposed to the short axis, just to show that you can change that if you want. Now I'm going to make 2 cuts into this. Again, I don't want to go more than half the distance of this because of the way the pop-up works. And I'm going to make 2 very parallel cuts. So for a box like this, you need them to be fairly straight. And you want them to come the same distance in the paper. Now I can fold this just using my finger again, but if I wanted to be a little bit more precise with this fold, just to make sure that I got a really nice, even, straight fold, then I could start that fold with the ruler. Again, fold it back, turn it over, crease it right along that same line again, back to its original position. And then as I open this up, and this is why it has to be fairly straight, because if it's an angle, it won't want to open up after this. I'm going to pop this center part out, my pop-up, and I want to just make that fold go in the opposite direction. So you might have to, just try to gently manipulate it to go that way. And then once it does, then you can close it. And now I can open it up, and I have a square pop-up. So if you do this single cut in the folds, you can also vary the folds, and you can see these are very shallow folds. And the reason that I made shallow folds on this is because I wanted to do a fish, and so I wanted that mouth to be in a very different shape than if I had folded them in a much longer fold. So you can do that, change the angle of your folds. You can also use a different piece of paper. So here I've used, again, a kind of wrapping paper, and I've made a frog, so I'm using the green color for the frog. You can also use any paper that you might have around the house. I know we've been using a lot of Clorox products recently, and so I made this little sign that we can keep near our front door so that if we do go out for a walk to try to get some exercise, it just reminds us to come in and wash our hands. And I wanted to show you another piece of material you could make a pop-up out of. Our grocery store no longer allows you to use recyclable bags, and so we have to get the paper bags from the store. And so if you had a paper bag from your grocery store, you could start to cut that down, and I'm just following the lines here to cut out this panel because it's already got a fold in it from the way that the bag was done, which you might be able to see that center fold there. And so I want to use that fold and so then I can recycle the rest of this bag, or I can use it in another art project. And I'm just going to score this fold a little bit better. And obviously, it's a little bit ragged around the edges. So one of the things that I want to do is just square it up a little. And then also show you that you can do a shape to your pop-up exterior if you want. So let's say here I wanted to do some ears on my card and shape the head, that I can draw those lines in, and then I could cut this following those lines. And I'm doing this very quickly. I'm sure you could do something a little bit more artistic if you took a little bit of time. So now I have a shape which is going to appear like some ears on it. I'm just going to cut a quick mouth into this, fold that. Again, I'm doing one center cut, not going more than half of the distance, folding it in one direction, folding it in the other direction along the same score lines. Back, I'm going to manipulate that fold so the center fold is going in the opposite direction, and then fold it down again to create that mouth. And then I could just draw a couple of quick eyes on this. I have my ears, and I'm just going to color the mouth a little bit so that it stands out a little bit more. So you can see, you can just take a normal grocery bag and do that. And if you wanted to go a little bit further with this, you can make a two-part pop-up. So here I've taken 2 sheets of paper and I've made a little pop-up with my drawing. And then I have another sheet of paper where I've made something in the back of the mouth of this animal. And I can put these two together, put a little bit of glue, or you could even tape them if you had to, and now you can see there's a little bit of mouth in this pop-up. So just a way to make it a little bit further. You can do all kinds of different things once you have those 2 basic shapes down.